Nexus 8846 Productions, and welcome to a review of Generation Select's Shattered Glass Ratchet. God, I hate this mold. Okay, no, maybe hate is a bit too strong to describe this figure, but it's still not that good. This vehicle mode is insultingly awful. The robot mode feet, shoulders, and part of the shins you can't even see in robot mode are completely exposed and stick out like sore thumbs on this. And it really doesn't help that the bottom of the feet look like this. This figure is blatantly a remold of the Siege version, which honestly is the better use, because it feels more integrated to have these parts. Not to mention that the stock paint deco on it is also still way better. Like, I wouldn't even say that there felt like there was anything insultingly missing. And Christ, they're even using the same wheels. This is supposed to be an Earth vehicle, and it's using wheels from a Cybertronian-styled figure. This is insultingly bad. And if that wasn't bad enough, you need to remove a massive chunk of this alt mode in order to transform it. Why did Earthrise do so much of this, and why did we let it happen? Thankfully, it looks like Kingdom is trying to stray away from this direction, but the fact that this mold was an exclusive that you had to pay out your ass for is ridiculous. But hey, it has nice details and it's a place to store the gun, I guess? So technically speaking, it does store both accessories in vehicle mode, though I'd hesitate to call the entire roof of a vehicle an accessory. But when it comes to parts forming, I do feel more lenient towards it when it transforms to become a weapon for robot mode. That's why I can let it slip for Beast Wars figures. This, on the other hand, is the laziest shit I've ever seen. The windows fold away and 4 barrels that you could already see exposed in vehicle mode just slide out. And that's it. It still looks like the roof of the freaking vehicle. So then, what is this? Is this a shield? Is this a gun? Is this just a lazy excuse for the designers to not give a shit and just reuse parts from an old figure that don't fit anyways? Oh, wait, yeah, it's that last one. Ugh, that's it. Whenever a figure does something this lazy with parts forming, I'm just considering it an accessory and completely leaving it off. Unless it's like a case like Omega Supreme, where that's the point of it. Then, you know, that can slide, because he transforms into 3 things he needs to come apart. This, though, no. So whenever I get a figure like this, and it has egregious parts forming like this, and it's so blatantly lazy, I'm just going to leave it off and say that that's the whole vehicle mode, and that it only looks better when you put the gun on. But hey, to its credit, it looks better than what Cliff Jumper did, which was literally nothing, so you set the bar a little bit higher by giving a little bit of a shit? Speaking of, here's a size comparison, and apparently this is pretty real-world accurate, so okay. And here it is with the Earthrise Prime mold that it was packed with. With the egregious parts forming, the parts used from a Cybertronian-style figure that doesn't match the Earth aesthetics, and the complete lack of paint on pretty much the entire thing. This sucks balls. This is one of the worst vehicle modes I've ever seen a Transformer take. And this is a deluxe. Typically, they're better than this. This should have just been its own complete mold, or gone the way that the Cybertronian-style Cliffjumper from Studio Series did, and actually put in the effort to remold everything, so that you can't even tell. On to robot mode, I guess. So, robot mode. In this form, you can very much tell a lot more obviously that it's a remold from Siege. Basically, everything that wasn't a vehicle component, except that part of the back, is the same mold. Except for the shoulders. One of the things that stuck out in vehicle mode. They changed the mold on that, but they didn't design it so it would fit in as the vehicle mode. Why? Interestingly enough, the head is different from the Siege figure. So, okay, that's a bit interesting. Weirdly enough, the Siege Ratchet figure has way more remolding going on than this figure does. Well, at least in terms of the robot mode. And I can't help but feel like they shouldn't have done this. I'm pretty sure that people would have been happy with just a straight repaint of the Ironhide figure, so that way they could save all the remolding for the Earth mode versions. I don't know. This review is not fun to make. I'm just going to skip over the articulation. It's the exact same as every other version of this mold. And now the quote-unquote accessories. Gun looks perfectly fine, painted in a nice silver even. It's just a little bit small, but I completely accept this. This is fine. The lazy parts forming piece, on the other hand, is trash. The peg it switches to for robot mode is placed way too low on it, and it looks awful. But hey, you can store it on the back where it continues to just get in the way of things. Fun! Like, good fuck. If your excuse for this is just, oh, you can slap it on the back and it'll be out of the way, then why not engineer it in so that it can be done like this instead? And that way your excuse for it being in the way could be, it has to do that to transform. You have no excuse for this. And to pair it again with another batch of irony, one of the pegs it uses to connect in vehicle mode, you can use those, and it looks so much better. Ah! Screw this thing, screw this thing, screw this thing, screw this thing, screw this thing. God, why? And oh, this is apparently the real reason all of that had to come off. To reference G1 with this shitty little thing. Oh my god. Just because the G1 figure did it doesn't mean it was good. And if you're going to reference the thing the G1 figure did, you need to improve upon it, or at least do it to the same level. This looks terrible. This doesn't add any value to the figure. God!
Oh, but parts forming was part of G1. You have to accept it then.
Yeah, well, G1 Optimus Prime and Starscream's hands had to come off for them to transform, and both their modern figures have all their limbs intact. Shut the hell up. And as a bonus to this pointless G1 reference, their main robot mode is now completely disarmed. Don't get me wrong, the base mold is good. It's a fun transformation, it poses well. It's a generally good figure, but this version of it is not. If you want an Ironhide or a Ratchet, you should just track down the Siege versions. Not only do I think you could get them for cheaper, but god damn it, there's still going to be better executions of this design. So overall, fuck this mold. If it wasn't for the fact that this was an obscure character that I wanted a figure of, I would never have even touched this. But since I did, and since it's so awful, I had to warn everyone not to get this thing. Because that's the sacrifice I have to make as a reviewer. I've been Nexus 846 Productions. And until next time, roll out. Fuck this.